when I got out of college, first of all, the reason I went to get my entire education is I don't want to call it a joke, but it is 100% everything that I wanted to do. Not what the teachers wanted me to do, not what the school or the system or the government. When I was in middle school, an incident happened. I'll save it for another day, but I essentially didn't have any friends. I was bullied in middle school. I had no one. I had nothing. I didn't have a best friend. I didn't have a girlfriend. I had nothing. And so it was to the point where I went around the long way to get to my bus because I avoided the kids who were picking on me because I knew their bus was there and they would get on at this time, and I snuck by. And so I knew going into high school, I couldn't do that for 4 more years. So I thought I had to go to a different school. I could not go to Northeastern. I could not go to my home school. I could not stay with those people because it would just be a continuation. And so I was like, the only way to do that is to move. I can't get my parents to move. Like they just got divorced 5 years ago. Mom doesn't have any money. We're not moving anywhere anytime soon. She got a job, whatever. I'm a teenager. I can't tell my parents to move. And so I don't know how I got the idea. I don't know who told me about it, but someone along the way had mentioned York Tech. And VOTech became my goal because that meant I could go to a different school, I could recreate myself, I could do something completely different, and I could take over. And that's exactly what I did. And so the summer before high school, I decided I was going to start magic, taught myself card tricks. And from day one to fucking graduation, I was let out of class by teachers, students, lunch, doing magic, doing this. I was president of my class. I was homecoming king. There was not a single student in the class of 2008 to 2012 who didn't know my fucking name. And so so my entire high school education, 50% of it was baking cookies because I went for culinary arts, the easiest thing you could do. I thought if I can bake cookies long enough, I can get through this without having to go to algebra 2 or whatever else the fuck everyone else was doing. I could skate by and literally do what I wanted to do, and that was entertain. And I did that whether it was with magic or in the shop. I started food fights. I flooded the kitchen 3 times, putting rags in the sink. It was a blast. And so, but you know, at the same time, because it was VOTech, I had to go to Math 101. We did 2 or 3 classes a day, whatever. It was bullshit. And so then out of that, I'm like, I'm a magician now. People know me because I'm a magician. I auditioned for America's Got Talent. And so it was like, this is what I need to do for the rest of my life. I don't have a website. I'm not going to go. And for the last 3 years, I've been using like Wix.com, website builder, whatever was there. And so I'm like, I'm just going to go to college. I'm going to go to college, learn how to build a website. I'll make myself one. So I spent $100,000 on an education that should have cost me $30,000, but I went to the Art Institute. It's okay. I'm working on getting it forgiven, you know? And so I taught myself how to build a website. And by the time I got out of college, I realized that magic wasn't really it. It faded out. And my first professional job out of college was an internship at a web development company where every other day we had Nerf gun battles, and then the boss bought us a pool table. You'll never guess what we did all day, every day, in between a little bit of work.
Did you play pool?
Yeah. And so then my next job after that, I was there for 3 months. It was very serious. I had one project, and as soon as that project was done, the owner of the company pretty much ignored the web development portion of it and just fully focused on her PR campaigns and whatever else was going on. So we had no new projects. So I was working on Sparks Entertainment, doing other business stuff, doing my own shit. Eventually got fired. Went to my next job as a web developer at a window and door company. West Shore Windows and Doors are now like the biggest fucking thing on the planet because BJ keeps buying up every mom and pop window and door company across the United States. It's insane. But 3 months in, they hired me to make their website. He outsources it to another company. So now they're like, hey, just make us Facebook posts or something. So again, every day I would go into work, do my own shit, post something on Facebook for them, and just go home and not actually do anything. And then after that, in 2017 is when I started working at Pixel and Hammer. 2 years into that, Emily decided that she didn't want to do it anymore. She wanted to go work for her husband because he had another business going that was going to pay her a bunch of money. She said, Levi, if you want it, it's yours. You may have the clients, you can have the books, the name, everything, sign on the dotted line, take it. And so I did. And that was to start January 2020.
Okay.
And so 3 months into my very first solo adventure, I have to pay every single bill with this business.
Yeah.
The world shuts down.
Yeah.
And in that year alone, single-handedly, I outsourced maybe 2 projects to a couple of friends because I couldn't do it myself. I brought in $150,000.
Wow.
Was it off the backs of what they built 9 years prior for the business and the clients and the names and everything else? And that's almost been our success. Yeah. But come 2021, 2022, all of that work and all of those people who were like, yeah, we need this, this, and that fizzled out.
Yeah.
And I had to either make a decision, like you got to promote, you got to get new people, you got to reach out, you got to get sales. And thank God for my new best friend, Paul, who's my sales guy. And it's because of him we doubled our numbers last year.
Nice.
And because of this and AI and video and everything else. And so just looking back at it now, I didn't realize it in that moment from one job to the next, to the next, to the last, that I never worked. Like every time I got hired to do something, they either outsourced the job, they forgot about us, they didn't get us work. They said, do this instead of what we hired you to do. And I was like, hey man, I'm not doing it for a 6th time. And so now I had that opportunity to take the business, to do my own thing. I also own Sparks Entertainment. We do weddings and stuff. And so it's just, I've always been an entrepreneur, but I've never said that to anybody.
Sure.
Whenever people ask me what I do or what I am, I like giggle and I'm like, well, I DJ weddings, I make websites, I have a podcast, I do this, I Twitch stream for a little bit, like whatever. But at the end of the day, I never admit that I am an entrepreneur until like right now. This second to you right now is the first time in my life I've told someone, oh, I'm an entrepreneur.
But even vocalizing something is a liberating experience when you actually vocalize the thought.
Because what's crazy is I thought about this episode between me and you just the other day, and I'm like, I'm probably going to bring this up and say it. And then I thought about it. And I'm like, holy fucking shit.
Yeah.
What a fucking weight off my chest.
Yeah.
I didn't start out with it in my Instagram bio. And I wasn't all over like, yo, respect the hustle, respect the grind, blah, blah, blah. I worked in silence and I still do.
Yeah.
I still do. Half the people in my circle have no idea about Pixel and Hammer.
Yeah.
They have no idea about the other half of everything. Like and then the other half of my circle just thinks I DJ weddings for Sparks Entertainment and do this silly show every week.
Yeah.
And then they're like, how do you pay what? Do you have a job? And I'm like, yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I'm just not.
Yeah.
Because you know what? Because that takes time.
Yeah.
It takes time to be loud and be like, hey, look at me. I'm an entrepreneur. I take that time to serve the clients and make money and do whatever else.
But sometimes it also takes somebody else to kind of point that out. Like, it takes somebody to show you where you are. Like I recently interviewed the owner of Move It Fit in Lancaster, named Marie Cleves Rothacker.
Yeah.
And in the interview, I say something along the lines of, I don't own my own business, but I would imagine. And my boy LaRock Hudson, who's a good friend and mentor of mine, shout out to LaRock, he hits me up because he's listening to it. And he's like, don't you ever say, you're like, and I was like, but I don't own a business. And he's like, nah, but what you're doing. And that's another thing too. Like, I'm not an entrepreneur, but I understand that I'm in the mindset,
There's a mindset, right?
that I will get there one day. My level of thinking and my production and my involvement is that of somebody that's like, nah, I need to do this on my own.
Yeah. There's a difference between the mindset and doing it and getting there. And it's there. Once you realize it, and things will keep you humble. And it's funny because I will see some people out there like, oh, I own a business and I'm an entrepreneur. And I'm like, you copied and pasted someone else's cookbook and you're selling it on Etsy for $25. Like I get it. I'm not knocking it, but like, okay.